Hello everyone, had your food? So why I'm asking this question? Because we need energy to do any work. For example, if you are walking or if you are running, otherwise even if you are sleeping, so then also you need energy. Why? Because to maintain the state of order in our body, and along with that we need food for the building of our body, as you have studied in your previous classes. Now the major question is, how do the organism obtain their food, or how do the living organisms get their food, right? So in general we know that the general requirement of energy for every organism is same, that means it is common, either it may be multicellular or unicellular, but the mode of the obtaining food is different in different kind of organisms. How? Let us discuss. So the first kind of organism is autotroph. So for example, these are the organisms which obtain their food by using the simple inorganic substances, that is they obtain these inorganic substances, that is in the form of carbon dioxide and water. So by using these inorganic substances they prepare their own food and they utilizes this. So here these kind of organisms we call them as autotrophs. Because auto, what do you mean by auto? Because auto meaning self, or which takes place by its own. So here these are the organisms, they gets the food by using inorganic substances, that is carbon dioxide and water, and they prepares their food by their own. And if we consider another kind of organism, so what they will do is, so this organism or some organism, they uses the complex food, and after consuming this they break down this complex food into simple food, and then they will utilize this food. So in these two cases, that is in the autotrophs and also which we are discussing now, so these are called as heterotrophs. So here the meaning of hetero is different or from other kind or many. Now look at this example. In case of autotroph, they prepare their own food, whereas these heterotrophs, they obtain their food from others. So what are the examples for this? As we all know that for the autotrophs, example is plants. Which plants? We know commonly that green plants, and along with that some bacteria. So these are the example for autotrophs. And for heterotroph, which are the example? So yes, we can say that we, that is humans, are example for heterotrophs, and along with that we can also give one more example, that is fungi. So these organisms obtain their food from others, that means from the autotrophs, either directly or indirectly. For example, as we are the humans, we directly gets our food from plants, and this fungi, they gets the food from dead or decayed organism, right? So these are the two methods of obtaining food. Now we will move on to the topic, that is autotrophic nutrition. So the major requirement of the carbon and materials, so these two are common for every organism, and in case of autotrophic nutrition, this carbon and materials are obtained to prepare the food by the plants by the process called as photosynthesis. photosynthesis, right, as we have studied in previous classes. So the meaning of photosynthesis, so the plants, they use the process called photosynthesis, and they obtain this carbon and other materials from the surrounding. Then what do you mean by photosynthesis? So commonly we can say that photo, what do you mean by photo? So photo meaning light and synthesis meaning prepare. That means plants are preparing. What they are preparing? They are preparing food in the presence of light. So for that reason, so these processes are called as photosynthesis. Then how do they perform photosynthesis? We commonly already know that is the plants utilizes the inorganic substances, that is carbon dioxide plus water, to prepare their food, and along with this they releases oxygen into atmosphere. Now whenever they prepare food, the plant utilizes this food to meet their energy requirements, and the extra food which is prepared in the plant, if it is not utilized by the plant, this extra food is stored. What the plants will do is they stores the extra food in the form of starch. So here we can say the starch as reserve food, and this reserve food is utilized by the plant body when they do not get any photosynthesis. Now when it comes to the heterotrophs, for example humans, so whenever we have food to get energy, we cannot use all the food in our body. So sometimes the food may be excess, so during the time the excess carbohydrate, so which is that excess carbohydrate, so the food which contains carbohydrate, that is itself is starch, because the plant, it prepares the food and stores the food in the form of starch, right? So we are having the starch, so the starch is an example for carbohydrate. So when we eat this carbohydrate, our body uses as much it needs, and the extra carbohydrates is stored in which body? That is in animal body, in the form of glycogen. Clear? We will recall this again. So this happens in which body? So this happens in plants, and plants stores the extra food which is not utilized in the body in the form of starch. Whereas, so this process which takes place in animals, so whenever the animals get the carbohydrate that is in excess, the animals store the excess carbohydrates in the form of glycogen. So this starch and glycogen, they acts as reserve food, right? And this reserve food, it is utilized in the body, either it may be in the plant body or in the animal body during starvation. So for example, you know that whenever you don't have food either for 1 day or 2 days or 3 days, you will not die, but still your body is getting energy from where? That is the glycogen which is stored in liver and muscle in your body. So this glycogen gets converted into the energy source, that is glucose. So for that reason we can say this glycogen as an reserved food material, right? And then, so we have studied photosynthesis. It is a process of preparing food. Now let us study what are the events which occur during photosynthesis. So we know that plants prepare the food by the process called photosynthesis, right? Now, so during photosynthesis majorly 3 events occur. So in that, the first event which we can call is absorption of light energy. So during daytime the plants, it gets the energy from sunlight, right? So after getting energy, what it will do is, the plant, it converts the light energy into chemical energy, and this chemical energy is utilized by the plant body to prepare food. So now we will discuss in brief. So in the first step, what it will do is, the plants simply, they will absorb light with the help of chlorophyll. So where we can observe the chlorophyll? So chlorophyll is present in leaf. So because of the presence of this chlorophyll, the plants looks in which color? Green in color, right? Now in the second event, what it will do is, the plant converts this light energy, that is, it converts the light energy into chemical energy. And then, so after converting this into chemical energy, it breaks the water. So as you all know that water gets broken down into, what are the constituents of water? That is hydrogen and oxygen. So here this oxygen is eliminated from the plant body through stomata. Now here, what is the function of this hydrogen? So let us see. In the third event, what the plant will do is, we know that the plant need the gas, that is carbon dioxide. Now here in the third event, the plant reduces the carbon dioxide. That means in the third event, what occurs is a reduction of carbon dioxide by which gas? Hydrogen, which is produced during second event. Now already we know that the meaning of reduction. What do you mean by reduction? That is addition of hydrogen, that is in terms of hydrogen. Example, now look at here. Here we have CO2, that is carbon and oxygen. So to this, whenever it adds hydrogen, it causes a process called reduction, and it forms CHO. So here in general we can say C6H12O6. So C6H12O6, it is commonly our food, right? So as you can see here, carbon dioxide is reduced to glucose. So these are the three events which occurs during photosynthesis. We will recall again. The first event is absorption of light, and then conversion of light energy into chemical energy, and water gets broken down to release hydrogen and oxygen, and this oxygen is released into atmosphere through stomata. And then in the third event, the carbon dioxide. So here reduction of carbon dioxide by hydrogen, which is produced in the previous event, and it forms a food, that is glucose. And one more important note. So all these three events, they may occur continuously, or sometimes they may not occur. For example, if we consider the plants, that is desert plant. So what do you mean by desert? So which is filled with sand, and in the sand mostly we know that cactus plant. So these kind of plants will grow, and in this kind of desert plant, all these three events, they will not occur continuously. So what they will do is, during night time, the plants, they obtain the carbon dioxide and they prepare an product called intermediate when during night time. and during daytime they uses this intermediate and they uses energy, that is light energy, to prepare food. So these events occur in desert plant. Now we have studied that the events which occur during photosynthesis, and also we know that the requirements for photosynthesis, that is it needs carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and chlorophyll. But have we proved it? No. That means now we have to prove this carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis and chlorophyll is essential for photosynthesis, and how do the plant gets the carbon dioxide. So these things we will discuss now. So here, as you can see in the picture, we have leaves, right? Now what activity we did here is, so here the activity shows chlorophyll is essential for which process? Photosynthesis. So we have to prove that. Let us see how we can prove this. So for this activity, what we have to do is, we have to take two potted plant which is of same size, and the important point here is the plant should contain variegated leaf. Now what do you mean by variegated leaves? So variegated meaning which have different color, either it may be money plant or crotons. So you have seen the crotons in your garden, so which contains two color on both surface of the leaf, right? So now we have to take the two potted plant which have variegated leaves and then keep these two potted plants in which room? Dark room. That is keep for 3 days. Here we have a question, why we have to keep these plants in dark room for 3 days? Yes, the answer is, we know that after preparing food, that is by the process called photosynthesis, the plant uses the food and it stores the excess food in the form of starch. So since we have to prove this chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis, in the first step we have to remove all the starch which is present in the plant body. For that reason we are keeping the potted plants in dark room for 3 days to what? To remove starch. So after 3 days the plant loses all starch because due to the absence of photosynthesis. Now after 3 days what you have to do? So take out the plants from dark room and then pluck leaves. After taking out the plants, keep the plants in sunlight for 6 hours, because to carry out which process? Photosynthesis process. And then take out the plant which we have kept in sunlight for 6 hours. In the next step, pluck a leaf from the plant and place leaf on a sheet of paper and then mark green regions which are present on the leaf, as you can see in this picture. So what they did in this picture is they have marked the green regions, right? As you can see here, green patches. So mark these kind of green patches on the sheet of paper. So after this, take this leaf and then put this leaf in boiling water for few minutes. So after a few minutes, take out the leaf and then keep it in alcohol. So in the next step, take the alcohol beaker and place this alcohol beaker in a water bath. That means a vessel which contains hot water, and in this hot water we have to place the beaker which contains alcohol, and in this we have placed leaf, right? Here we should not heat the beaker directly, because since it contains alcohol it may catch fire. So for that reason we are keeping the beaker with leaf which contains alcohol in hot water bath and heat it for few minutes. In the next step, so after few minutes, take out leaf from beaker and observe what you can observe here. So we can observe that the leaf loses which color? Green color, and this green color can be visible in that alcohol. Now after this, in the next step, take the leaf and put this leaf in the solution, iodine solution. So after this, take out and wash the leaf with which water? Running water. So now up to here our activity, that means our experiment is completed. After this activity, what we can observe? Now we have to write observation, that means what we have seen. So our observation is, as you can see in this picture, so wherever the leaf has green patches, so in the same region we can observe which color? Blue color. So as you can see in this picture, so green patches, here blue patches. That means we can observe blue patches in the region of which color? Green color. That means something has happened, right? So what has happened? So wherever the leaf has chlorophyll, in the same region we have observed blue color because of the presence of starch. That means this iodine solution, it acts on the starch and it converts the color into which color? Blue color. So it indicates the presence of starch, and the photosynthesis is occurred where the leaf contains chlorophyll. So this is our activity. So now we will move on to the next topic, that is carbon dioxide. So how do plants get the carbon dioxide for photosynthesis? As you can see in this picture, we have guard cell. So here the picture A shows open and picture B shows closed stomatal pore. Now what is the function of stomata, which you have studied in 9th standard? So it states that stomata is the tiny pore which is present on the leaf, and it helps in exchanging of the gases, and also it helps in transpiration process, right? But now here we are discussing only about carbon dioxide and how it exchanges carbon dioxide. So here the stomata, it is present on the leaf, and important note that it is not only present on the leaf, it is also present on the stem and also on the root. And through this stomata, along with exchanging of the gases, loss of water also takes place. If the stomata is open for a long time, the plant may lose water and it may die finally, right? So for that reason, what the plant will do is, the plant controls the opening and closing of the stomata. Now we will study how does the plant controls the opening and closing of stomata. So now look at the picture. So this stomata, it has guard cells, and here we can see stomatal pore, and in the stomatal guard cells it has chloroplast, right? So whenever the plant does not need any carbon dioxide, that means in the absence of photosynthesis, or when the photosynthesis does not occur, during that time the plant, what it will do is, it closes stomata when the plant does not need any carbon dioxide. Then how it closes the stomata? That is by the regulation of amount of water. Let us see how. So whenever the plant needs carbon dioxide, it fills water into the guard cell. So whenever the water enters into the guard cell, the cell swells. What it will do is, it will swell. So when the guard cell swells, the stomata will open, and whenever the plant does not need any carbon dioxide, then the plant loses water, that means through guard cell. In the guard cell, what it will do is, it will lose water. So when the guard cell loses water, the guard cell will shrink. So when the guard cell shrinks, it closes stomata. So by this way, the plant controls the in and exit of the gases. Clear? Okay. So now what we have studied? So we have studied the activity which shows that chlorophyll is essential for photosynthesis, and along with that, how does the stomata, it regulates the exchanging of gases. Now we will move on to the next important topic, that is carbon dioxide. So is carbon dioxide essential for photosynthesis? So now let us prove this with an activity. Now for this activity, what we have to do is take two plants. Which kind of plant? Potted plant, which is of same size, and then keep them where? In dark room. So in the previous activity we have studied that we have to keep them in dark room. Why? Because to remove starch which is stored in the plant body. And then, so after 3 days, take out the plants, after 3 days, what we have to do? Take out the plant and then mark the plant, mark as A and B. So after marking, place the plant on glass plates and then cover the plants by using bell jar. So as you can see in the picture, we have two plants which are kept in dark room for 3 days and they are placed on a glass plate, and we are covered them by using bell jar. But before closing with bell jar, in one of the plant, that is in the plant A, what we have kept is potassium hydroxide. So before covering, place potassium hydroxide in plant A and then cover it. Make it airtight by using Vaseline, because we have to ensure that no air should enter into the system. Now take these potted plants and then place the potted plants in sunlight. So place them in sunlight for 2 hours. So after 2 hours, what we have to do is pluck leaf from each plant. So we will take a leaf from each plant and we have to repeat the activity which we have did in previous activity. What is that? That is for testing of starch. So how we have tested the starch? So we took the leaf, place the leaf in boiling water and then take out and place them in alcohol. Keep the alcohol beaker in hot water bath for a few minutes. So after, when the leaf loses green color, take out the leaf and put it in iodine solution. If the leaf shows blue color, it indicates that photosynthesis has taken place. Now, so this is our activity. So after this activity, what we can observe here is, we can observe that the plant B shows blue color because of photosynthesis, but in plant A it doesn't shows blue color because the process, which process? The photosynthesis is absent. Now look at the picture again. The plants are same, two potted plants. We closed by using bell jar. We have started the experiment with same conditions, but the only change is in plant A, what we have kept? We kept potassium hydroxide, but the plant B does not contains potassium hydroxide. That means something has happened in this reaction. That means in this activity, that is this potassium hydroxide which we have kept in the plant A, what it will do is it absorb carbon dioxide. What it will do? That potassium hydroxide absorb carbon dioxide. So for that reason, the plant A, it will not get any carbon dioxide, so it will not do any photosynthesis and the food is not prepared. So by this activity we can prove that carbon dioxide is essential for photosynthesis. So Along with this, you have to design one more activity, that is sunlight is essential for photosynthesis. So you have to plan by yourself by using the ideas of this activity, that is carbon dioxide and chlorophyll is essential for photosynthesis. So if you use your brain for some time, definitely you will get answer. And then, so along with this, that means carbon dioxide plus what it takes, we have studied chlorophyll. So along with this, the plants need what? It also need water. And how the plants get the water? That is with the help of root, and it absorbs from the soil. And along with all these materials, the plant also needs some other materials. So we can list out that is the plants need potassium, right? And also it needs nitrogen, and it needs phosphorus, etc. So you may have seen that the organic, not organic, we can say the chemical fertilizers. On the packets you can see NPK, right? What does NPK indicate? N indicates nitrogen, P indicates phosphorus, K indicate potassium, and it may also need magnesium. So like this. So all these materials are also needed by the plant body for the development. And one more important is this nitrogen is also very important element which is required by every organism. For example, this nitrogen is utilized for the synthesis of protein, and it is also needed for the preparing of nucleic acid, so which you call your DNA or RNA. So this DNA and RNA are example for nucleic acid, and also for other materials. Every organism they need nitrogen. And how do the plant gets this nitrogen? Anyway, we will get from the plant body directly, but how do the plant gets the nitrogen? That is, the plant gets the nitrogen either in the form of nitrate or in the form of nitrite from the soil. And along with that, some bacteria also helps the plant to obtain their nitrogen from the soil as organic nitrogen. And along with that, sometimes we also provide nitrogen sources by ourselves. So for example, we can say, you all know that commonly, that is urea, right? This urea is a nitrogenous fertilizer. So by this ways the plant prepares its food. Clear? If you understood this topic, so at the end commonly we have some questions. And if you like this video, so please subscribe to my channel, and in the next video we will discuss the same topic, that is nutrition, but the subtopic is heterotrophic nutrition. So please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.